Hey yo, Nyaku here. Welcome to Obi Studios. All right, today's video we are going to create an accordion FAQ using Droip. So first thing first, you can see we do have a section that is already added because these are not probably the most important part of what we want to do. So that being said, let's start building what we actually want to do. So I'm going to click on my inner container, go into element, and I want to add a list because an accordion FAQ is mostly a list of questions and answers. So you want to make sure that it is semantically correct by using the correct tags. So we're going to add a list, as we've seen, add a list over here. After doing that, your next thing that you always want to do is to add your own appropriate class. So I'm going to detach the old class and add a new class called this one. Let's call it ACC dash, or let's call it accordion, right? Or let's call it FAQ, FAQs, right? Probably bad, maybe FAQ accordion, right? All right, so that is good. That is the name for our list. The next thing that probably I want to do is that I want to see the items within my list. So I'm going to go into typography and then change this to a white so that I can see what is inside. If you don't want to do this, you want to do it individually on each item, that is also okay. But you can save that time by doing what I just did. So let's save this and then let's preview it in the front end. We do have something more like this. All right. Going back into our main section, I want to add some spacing, right? So going to structure, and then for the top padding, I'm going to do a 50 pixels, and for the bottom too, I want to do a 50 pixels, and then I want to save that. Okay, going back into our list, let's go into layer. I'm going to give it some good name. So within this list, let's call this one FAQ. All right, and then our accordion, and then with this, there's like a bunch of them. So what I want to do is I want to remove a bunch of this too, and I'm going to click on here and let's call this one ACC. We start from accordion and then list. All right, so there's the list of our accordions, and that we are going to try and create an accordion that opens and closes, right? Okay, so with this, what I want to do is click back on the FAQ, and then I'm going to go into typography, open the advanced editor. Let's drag this to the middle, and then in here what we want to do is we want to remove the spacing on the left hand side and also the bulletin. To do that, first let's do with the spacing. So the spacing, I'm going to click on this 40 indentation or indentation. I want to make sure it is 0 pixels. See, now this one moves to the left, and then also on the list I want to also make sure that this is also none, so that bulletin is gone. So we have fixed one of the things that we need to fix. The next thing is to build out the accordion, and how this works is, let's remove this. How this works is that every accordion has two parts, the header and then the content. So within the accordion list, we are going to add two items, a header and then a content. The header is mostly a button because you click on it to open. If your accordion has no button, or if your accordion doesn't have an animation, you actually will not need to add a button. You can just use a div. But if you want people to click and open, use a button. The reason why you're going to use a button is for accessibility, and is also semantically correct. And also with buttons, you are able to do for people who need like who are using as people who need to use like the keyboard to open and close, they can use the keyboard to also do that when it comes to the button. So you need a button and then another element, let's say a div or something else that you want to use. So for us, we're going to go into element and then we're going to look for a button. So there's a button, let's add a button. And then we are also going to add a div. So let's add a div. All right, so when we go into our accordion list, we have a button and then we have a div. So the div is going to be our accordion content. So let's double click and then give this one ACC content. Let's click on the button to change this one to ACC header. All right, so that being done, we can start giving it like some good classes. So our header is selected. I'm going to go in here, remove the old class name, and then give this one ACC dash header. And I'm going to click on the content 1, 2, and give this one ACC dash content. All right, so those are the two classes name that we want to give it. And within our header, we can start building like how we want things to look like. First things first is I want to make sure that there is no background color. So let's click on this and then drag this all the way to the left. So no background color. And also for typography, we want to make sure that our type inside this is a white. All right, I think we are good. All right, so the next thing is clicking back on the header. Let's try and build this out as we want. So I want to make sure there's a border on it. I want to remove the stroke. So I'm going to go here. We can make sure that this is a 0. And then if that's a 0, that's fine. I think that's good. Let's save that and then let's click out and see. All right, so you can see that the border is gone. Let's go into clicking back on the header. Let's go into structure, make sure there's no pattern. You can see there's pattern over here. So let's lock this and then make sure that it's all 0 all around that. So which is good. The next thing that we want to tackle on is placing our content inside our header. There's already a text item over here. What we can do is we can give it a class by calling it acc-bt and -txt. So that's the name for our text, and we can try and then give it, let's give it like 14 pixels, and let's change this one, the text to plus, and make this one semi-bold. Change this one to 18 rather. Maybe 18 is too much. Let's do 16. All right, so that is good. And then let's add some like needed, some real needed content. All right, so the content I'm going to use is this content that I found. So the text over here, this is my text. And one thing that I want to also add within this button is an icon. So I'm going to go into element and then add this icon element and then click add from media. And I just want to look for some cool what am I looking for? I don't even know what I'm looking for, but I'm just looking for something that is not too generic. All right, so let's choose this. All right, let's add that. All right, so that is our icon. What I want to do is go into the right hand side in the class, detach the old class, and give this one be acc-bt and -icon. All right, so that is good, and we can start and changing the sizes and other stuff like that. I'm going to lock this and then give it a size of 28 pixels. Okay, go back into the layer. I want to drag this to the top, and I'm going to click back on our header, and then inside the structure panel, I want to change this one from inline to flex. It should be in a row like that. We can place it on the left hand side and then make sure that it is centered. And then we can give it like some gap of, let's say, 20 pixels. And I think that is good. All right, so the next thing that we want to do is we want to work on the content part. The content part, what we are going to add is just a paragraph. And then for the paragraph, I'm going to go on the right hand side, make sure I detach the old class and then add a new one and call it, let's say SEC TNT, and then this class name. Give it the class name that you do want. And then for this, I'm going to go into typography, make sure that this is 14 pixels, and I'm going to just change the color of the text over here, which is fine. So you can see that this is what we do have. Going back into our layer, there's our FAQ. I want to change the size of the FAQ, so I'm going to go into size, and then maximum, let's do 550. And also we can make sure that this is 100%. All right, you can see that it is on the left hand side. What we can do is we can go into structure and then place this on auto, and also place this on auto, and that is fine. And then back in the structure, we can give this one a top of, let's say, 60 pixels. And I think that is good. All right, I'm gonna save that. And I think that is okay. One more thing that probably, this is good. All right, and for the accordion itself, I want to give a bottom probably 10 pixels, maybe 5 pixels. All right, so this already has the text within the accordion content has some margins. I want to remove them completely. That is good. And I want to click on the content part, go into structure, unlock this, and then probably for the top, I want to give it like, let's say 10 pixels. All right, I think that is good. And one more thing that probably I might want to do is that I'm going to click on the accordion, or probably let's add another margin over here, right? Okay, and then click back on the accordion list. What I'm going to do is add a border at the bottom. So click on stroke, click on these 3 dots, select the bottom, and then we're going to give it 1 pixel for that. And then for color, I'm going to choose this very color over here. It's a faint color, so let's preview it in the front end. So we do have something more like that. So the next thing that probably we might want to do is go back in and then duplicate this over and over. All right, so selecting this again, I want to do something. What did I want to do? Oh, going back into our button, right? I'm going to make sure that this button, the size is 100%. Okay, and then going back to structure, I want the top of 5 pixels, maybe 10 pixels might be better. And then the bottom, top of 10 pixels and bottom of 10 pixels. I think that is good. And I just want to preview it. Okay, I think this is good. And maybe one more thing is with the accordion, content, I want to add another block inside, because I want to turn this block into flex. And let's say if I want to add an image or something like that, so if I go in here and say that, let's say an image, right? Or maybe, yeah, let's do an image and then add this image. And then for this image, I want to go into the class, detach the class, give it btn or acc-img. And then for for size, I want to give it a size of 150 pixels. Okay, we can use margin for the top and bottom, but we can also go back into our layer, go back into this. Let's give this one inner acc, right? And then for class, let's give it also acc inner, right? And then we can go into structure and then make this one flex, place this to the bottom, and then push it to the left hand side, and we can give it a gap of, let's say, 20 pixels. Okay, maybe 20 pixels is too much. Let's do 10 pixels. Clicking back on this image, I want to make it 100%. You can see it stretches out, so you are going to click on this for more options and then change this one to cover. You can also make sure that, clicking back here, you can make sure that if this is your first image, you want to move it from lazy to eager or auto. All right, so we have something more like that. The next thing that I want to do is to duplicate our accordion, our list. I want to duplicate it more and more so that we don't have to continue doing it. All right, so let's duplicate this a few more. 1, 2, 3. All right, these ones I wouldn't add in an image. Yeah, so I wouldn't add image to 2, and I'll add image to the other one so that we have a bit of variety. All right, so we do have something more like this. So the next thing with an accordion is that it opens and it closes, but most of the time your content is hidden. So what we want to do is, let's minimize these. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that the content accordion is hidden until the header is clicked. That is what we want to do. So I'm going to select this accordion, right? And then what I want to do is that I want to make sure that I'm going to go into structure, and instead of this being block, I'm going to make sure that it is none. So you can see that now all the content is now hidden because they all have the same classes. So when we preview this in the front end, you can see that now you don't see the content part because they are gone. The next thing that I want to do is now I want to add a combo class. So the combo class is the one that is going to cause the accordion to be shown when that class is added to the content block. So let's add a combo class called visible. You can do visible or any name, but mostly people will use like active, or let's say visible. Active is much easier to write. All right, so active class. So now the active class is the one that is going to have a visibility of being on. So let's go in here, and then I am going to change this one from none to block. So when you change this one from none to block, you can see that only the first accordion item is showing the content. So let's preview this in the front end, so you can see that only this one is showing the content. The rest of them, they are not showing the content because it does not have the combo class of active. The only time that it's going to have that combo class of active is when we click on the header item. So when you click on this, nothing is going to happen because we haven't set up the entire animation yet. All right, so let's go back over here. So since we've already like placed down our structure and everything like that, I'm going to click back on the very first accordion list, and then I'm going to go into interactions, and for interactions, set trigger to tap, and then I'm going to click on these three dots and then apply to class. The reason why we are applying it to the class is because if we don't, it is only going to apply it to the very first one. The rest of them, they are not going to get it. So you want to apply it to a class. So now let's click on here, which class we want to apply it to, not the list item. All right, so we have made a mistake here. So what I'm going to do is, what we want to do is click on the accordion header, right? And then we are going to set our trigger to tap, click on these three dots, and then click on apply to class. As I said, the reason why we are applying it to the class is because we want it to apply it to the other items within the accordion, so that when we click on this very one too, the animation happens. That's why we're going to apply it to the class called ACC header. So every class that does have the ACC header, this animation will apply to it. So let's save this, and then the next thing that we want to do is to actually do the animation. So you can see that over here we do have your first click and your second click. So your first click is when you do click on the button for the first time. So we're going to set create a custom response. Let's drag this over here. So in here, what we want to do is when we do click on this button, we want this accordion content to show. So I'm going to select the accordion content, but as with the very first one, you want to make sure that this applies to the class. And to do that, you're going to click on these three dots, apply to class, check apply to class, click on here, and then you want to make sure that you select the correct one. So the correct one is this very one. So you want to apply it to this very class. All right, let's close this, and then we are going to save that. The next thing that we want to do is to create the animation itself. So what we want to do is click on here and then do change class. Let's drag this to the front, and then our first click, what happens is when you click on it, it adds a class to what you have clicked, which is the accordion content. So let's choose add class, and what class we want to add, the class is called active. So that is the class that we want to add. All right, so let's save this, and then we're going to preview it. So you can see that when you load, the first one is already showing, Why? Because it has the class active and that class is not removed. So when we click on this, everything opens up. The reason why everything opens up is because we haven't finished the animation, and we are also not telling the animation that let's do this one after the other. So instead of making the animation do one after the other, we haven't done that yet. So we're going to close this, and then we're going to click on this 3 dots again, and then click on apply to class. Let's drag this to the middle here on this side, right? And then when you come down, you see all element with this class. The reason why everything open is because when we did click on the header, the accordion header, every element with the class acc-content, like it got triggered. We don't want that to happen. So we're going to click here, and then we want to choose only triggered sibling with this class. So when you choose this, it is only going to trigger the class that you have, or yeah, it's only going to trigger the sibling of that class, not a sibling of another class that is not within the scope. So let's save that again and then preview it. So when I click on this, only this one opens, but this is still open because our animation doesn't close the one that doesn't have the class. So when I click on this, this opens. When I click on this, this opens. But when I click again, it doesn't close it at all. So our next phase is to make sure that the animation closes when we click it the second time. All right, so let's close this, and then we are going to give this one a name. Call this one open ACC, right? Save that, and then I'm going to close that, and then I'm going to hover on this. You see a 3 dot opens up. I'm going to click on that 3 dots, and then we're going to duplicate what we just did. We are going to duplicate it on the second click. You can see there's a second click over here. Instead of repeating everything that we just did, we are going to click on duplicate to second click, go on second click, click on this 3 dots. I'm going to rename that so it's not confusing. So close ACC. All right, so now let's open this, drag it to the middle, and then we want to click on this very one. And now instead of adding the class, we want to remove the class active. So anytime the second one, anytime you second click on the accordion header, the class active is removed. So let's save that, and then let's preview it. So now when we click on this, the class is added. When I click on this, the class is removed. When I click on this, the class is added. When I click on this, class is removed. When I click on this, the class is added. When I click on this, it's removed. But when I click on this, the class now is added again, and when I click on it, it removes it. So the first one, since it already has the class active, when I click again, instead of it removing it, it doesn't. It adds it again. And the second click is what removes it. But when the page loads, it already has the class. So this one is where a problem is. So we can try and fix it by doing this. So let's close this, and then in here I'm going to close this, and I'm going to save that. So what we want to do is that even though we've added this combo class of active, when the page loads, we want the combo class of active to be removed from this. If you don't want that to happen, you can leave it as we do have it now. But if you don't do that, you have to, a customer will have to click on this twice before they'll be able to close it, or they have to click on it 3 times before they'll be able to close it, even though it's already open. So what we want to do is to make sure that when the page loads, we are removing the class active. Okay, so to do that, what we want to do is that we want to click. You can still select this and then click on, instead of elements, click on page. And then what we want to do is we want the page, when the page loads, we are going to create a custom response, and then we can give it a name of remove class. All right, and then I am going to select this header, just that, not everything, just that header. And then I'm going to click over here and then do change class. You can change the length of this, but we are going to change. What we want to do is we want to remove the class active. And then I'm going to save that. So now when I preview this, then remove that, let me make sure apply it to, let's apply it to this and see, but it should work. But that is probably like the logic that we are trying to. Oh, mistake. All right, so the active class is not added to the header, it's rather added to the content. So that's where our mistake is. I'm going to click on these three dots and say change target, and I'm going to click rather on this one. So now our target is changed. You can delete that, but that's fine. Let's save this. I'm going to refresh or reload that, and then going back into our layer, I'm going to have to peel this open a bit more. I'm clicking back on this. We can go into, like, when you go into the page load and click on this, you can see that now it is applied to the right, it's applied to the right one, which is this, and we can even remove, we don't have to apply it to any class, which is fine. We just need to apply it to this very one because that is the one that has the combo. All right, let's save that. So you can see that now it no more shows. So when you click on this, it opens. When I click on this, it opens it. When you click on it, it closes it. Open, 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 close, close, open, 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 open. All right, so this is a very simple, straightforward accordion that you can use. You can build for your Droip pages. There are other forms of accordion. There are ones that when you click on this, it opens, and then you click on this one closes, and then this one opens it. So those are also available. If those are the ones that you're looking for, you can go more into the animation to build that, or probably in subsequent videos I'll try and make sure that those are also done. But apart from that, so this is how you create your own accordion, and you can add, like, you can customize it as much as you want. If you do want to add, let's say, an icon that animates to show that this is open or this is closed, you can also do those things. There's no way that you can do that. All right, so that is good, and thank you for watching. My name is Nyako. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. It really goes a long way to help the channel. And if you did enjoy the video too, also make sure you give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. I will catch you on the next one.